Well, I think there's really a fundamental issue here that this Justice Department is coming to grips with, which is federal preemption or supremacy. In 2020, what happened was we simply recommended that the president follow the rules that had been established for literally hundreds of years in the use of alternate delegates. It's a part of the statutory structure. It's part of the United States Constitution. Because of that recommendation, which was supported at the time by the Wisconsin Attorney General, literally told us to use alternate electors, and if we did that, we had zero chance of sacrificing our appeal. We told the court we were relying upon that explicit suggestion by our Attorney General. What happens later? He indicts us, even after he writes a letter of opinion following on that as well. It's hard to imagine such duplicity. This pardon today draws attention to the lawfare that is ongoing against people like me. I certainly appreciate this pardon because it will focus you and all the others on the continuing destruction of lives. And when I say that, look, I said at one point we had 17 separate legal actions brought against me. We've had bar complaints. Literally, my son was taken aside and they took his electronics on a Disney cruise. They grabbed his personal electronics in front of his children. That's the kind of abuse we've gone through. And then at the last possible moment, having already opined that there was no crime, but Biden called on Josh Kaul and said, you have got to file something in Wisconsin. And then he did in June of 2024. That kind of abuse of power, especially in these times, it's important for the Department of Justice to step forward. And today's pardon is a step in that direction.
So you wore the black robe, you adjudicated cases, you served your country. Did you ever imagine you'd be inside a legal system where law gave deference to politics?
No. At the conclusion of the 2020 case, I think, again, I have to give you a little history here. I've represented every Republican presidential campaign until I was on the bench in 2016 in the state of Wisconsin, going back to the 1980s. I had helped write the recount statute in Wisconsin. I was one of the authors of that in a nonpartisan committee. I handled the only statewide recount that had ever been held contested for Mr. Justice Prosser in 2011. Yeah. It was a surprise to absolutely no lawyer in Wisconsin when the president called on me to do this job, to help in a recount. And I was honored to get that call. And I'm honored to think of the president as a friend and a mentor. He used to call me whenever he calls, it's the Greek judge. It's a Wisconsin Greek judge. He's on the phone. Once got me, I always loved this one. He would call in the morning and I'd have my grandchildren would be around and he would welcome them on the phone call. Or one time I took a call from the president in the back of a Wisconsin tavern, and I know, John, you know Wisconsin, so it's a traditional Friday night fish fry that the president caught me one evening. So, it was a really important moment in time. And I stepped forward, as I said, it's the United States Senate on December 16th of 2020, because all the other big law firms were cowards. They understood there was a real case in Wisconsin. We got 3 members of our state Supreme Court to agree with our case. The Democrat lawyers themselves thanked me at the conclusion of the case in Wisconsin to say, we really appreciate how you handled this in such difficult times. But none of that matters on a national scale. None of that matters when the left is involved.